Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and in today's video we got yet another little hayman job. This job is to make some spacers. They'll be about 1.5 inches outside diameter, 5/8 inside diameter by 1/2 inch thick. I've made some of these for a friend of mine in the past, and I did them just the standard way of taking a piece of round stock, turning the OD to the 1.5 inches, boring out the center to the 5/8, and then parting them off. Of course, doing that, parting is not the easiest job on the lathe, especially in something hard steel. But I would still need to face both sides of the spacers. Now, in talking with my friend, he said really the only crucial thing about it is the center bore being pretty close to 5/8. It's to slide over a 5/8 bolt, and bolts are just a little bit undersized. So he said didn't want much wobble from the center. So I made up a tolerance of 0.010 for that center. Outside diameter, he said it can be, it needs to be at least 1.5 inches. Be fine if it goes over a little bit. So again, I made up a tolerance of 0.20 on that OD. And then as far as the thickness, he said about 1/2 inch. So again, third tolerance, 0.20 on the thickness as well. We're going to see just how close we can get it to the actual specs of 5/8 inside diameter, 1.5 inches outside diameter, 1/2 inch thick. But we're not going to do it on the lathe. I'm going to try something a little different this time. I'm sure a lot of y'all watch some of the same YouTube channels that I do, and over the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, there seems to be a whole lot of folks doing tool reviews or product reviews from a company named Vevor, V-V-O-R. I get those requests, used to get them from Banggood all the time. I got one last week wanting me to do a video and a review on screensavers, the little films you put over your laptop screen. But I do get, as a matter of fact, I got one yesterday. No, I believe it was Saturday. Today, I'm actually recording this on a Monday. But it was from Vevor wanting to collaborate on doing a video in exchange for some tool product. And that's fine. Sometimes I watch those videos if the product is something that I think I might have an interest in. But I really don't have any interest of doing that myself. I do this tin barn stuff for fun, and I really don't want to be obligated to any individual or any company. So I normally turn down, or always turn down, these collaboration offers. But one of the Vevor products that I've seen at least 3 of the other channels that I watch, I've seen at least 3 of them review that product. And every one of them gave good reviews. So what did I do? I did exactly what the purpose of those videos are. I got on Vevor and I ordered, and what it was a set of their annular cutters. But it comes with 6 pieces. Let me get it lined up for you. 6 pieces. They are 1 inch, 1.25 inch, 1 inch, 1.1 inch, 1.25 inch, 1.5 1.75 and 2 inches. Now, in a video many months ago, I made this adapter to go in my mag drill. My mag drill has a standard 1/2 inch chuck in it. So this has the 1/2 inch chuck, but it also has a very close fit for the 5/8 on an annular cutter with two set screws on it that lock down on these. I'm not using the, or what I was saying about this, I went ahead and cut out a slot in the foam here, in this case, to hold that. The only thing I didn't really like about this set was there's no legend anywhere with it giving you the size. So I simply made a little piece of paper with the sizes on it that as soon as I can get somewhere that's got a laminating machine, I'll laminate that and just put that in. But I also needed some smaller size annular cutters. The smallest one on this was 1 inch. So I got on Vevor, and Vevor, if you're watching, your web page is kind of hard to follow. Sets and stuff like that, you know, I found that pretty easy. But to find individual, smaller size annular cutters, I got a little bit frustrated with you, to be honest. But what I did, I got on Amazon, and I've used these annular cutters before. They're called AC Tool. I ordered a 1/2 inch one, a 5/8, a 3/4, and a 7/8. And there's really no room in this case from Vevor to add them to it. But I had an old micrometer case. So that's where I store these, and got a room for a few more if I wanted to get some more in between sizes. But what we're going to do today, you remember that spacer? I said the inside diameter needed to be a 1/2 inch. Let me bring you in just a little bit closer. All right, as I said, the inside diameter needs to be 5/8 of an inch, and that's the size that he said really needed to be reasonably close. So again, made up a spec or tolerance of 10 thousandths for that. Well, I've got a 5/8 annular cutter, and one thing these are famous for, or well known for, is that they make a very good inside cut to size. If you're, of course, if your machine running it doesn't have a lot of run out. So we're going to take this piece of 1/2 inch thick cold roll and drill a 5/8 hole in the center. Then this 2 inch one that came with this last Vevor set, the inside diameter of that is actually 1.6. This is the 2 inch one. So I guess that's 20 thousandths on each side, the cutter thickness. So 1.6 is plenty fine for the outside diameter here. And the thickness on this is just a little over 1.5 with the mill scale on it. So again, what we're going to do is drill the center out. Then we're going to drill with a 2 inch annular cutter, at least we're going to try it, into this stock and cut out 2 spacers. Then we'll carry it over to the surface grinder, which surface grinder is a lot more fun to use than trying to face off something a 1/2 inch thick. But we'll carry this over to the surface grinder and clean up both sides. We're going to do this on the mill. Over at the mill now, and I've got the workpiece laid out, and as you can see in there, I've got 2 punch marks, which will be our center. Now all annular cutters have these little plungers in the middle of them. And unlike a hole saw that has a center drill in it, the purpose of that center drill is to hold that hole saw in position. The only real purpose of these plungers or pins in the annular cutter is 1, so that you can line it up, and 2, if the holder that you're using is equipped for annular cutters, it will have a spring plate in there. And as you're going through this will go up, and then that spring is to push that plug out that's going to cut. Now I've got a 5/8 inch collet in mill now, and we're going to tighten that down pretty good. An annular cutter has two flat sides on it, but of course in the spindle of the mill we don't have those, so I'll just tighten the collet down good. See, I believe we can run the head down just a little bit. Alright, I think that's centered on there good. I'm going to lock the table down, and I'm going to zero out the x-axis in both, or x and y-axis on the DRO. Okay, as you've seen, I think in times past using the mill, I've got this coolant system on here, but I'm not going to use that today, and the reason being, to use this, you need to get the nozzle pretty close so you don't have to have a hard stream running out. But when using an annular cutter, you don't want to peck with it. You know, a lot of times with a drill, we'll drill a little bit, let off, clean the chips out of the way, and continue on. With an annular cutter, as much as possible, you want to just go. So I'm going to use my little spray tank here to try to keep some coolant on it. Alright, I've got my mill in its slowest speed, which is 115 RPM. And let's see how this does. This is the AC Tool brand from Amazon. Well, that was simple enough. Now there is a little plug inside there. Let me see if I can get it out without dropping it. See how hot that is. Not too bad. As you can see, it left a little burr on this edge over here. But there's the plug that come out. Alright, now I think as good as that worked, instead of moving over and doing that one, I'll just simply do a tool change on it and put the 1/2 inch or put the 2-inch one in. And we don't really need the center plunger in this because we're going to go on where the mill is locked down right now. It's really making a bird nest there, but like I say, you really don't want to do a whole lot of pecking with the annular bit. Look at there. Did exactly what it was made to do. Alright, I'm going to come off to the side here to take that plug out. That plug is what we're after in this whole project. Yeah, she's a little warm. Oh yeah, it's coming out. It's not tight in there. It's just a good fit. All right, so there's our spacer. Of course, we got this burr out here on this outer edge to clean up. We're going to do that on the lathe. Now I can see from this. You probably can't tell that well in the camera, but the outside diameter of this cutter made left a whole lot better surface than the inside of the large cutter, which is to be expected. But again, the most crucial part of these spacers was that inside diameter. All right, I'm going to get going and cut another one right quick. Okay, now before somebody leaves a comment and says, well, why don't you take the cutter out now and put your plunger in there and push this plug out? Well, remember, there's no center in there for that plunger to hit on. So we'll just work it out like we did the other one. Then let's meet over at the lathe and we're going to clean these up. Okay, I'm over at the lathe now. We're going to clean up our spacers. And I'll be honest with you, I think that went a whole lot faster than it would have boring and turning and trying to part over here. Of course, we still got a little bit more work to do on these. Now I thought I had some expanding manual in the 5/8 size, but I don't in this type mandrel. But I do have this little small set that you slide your workpiece over, and then tighten this hex head in the middle. So we're gonna try using that. Got a little wobble in it. Let's take our ball bearing and move up against that and see if we can get a little that wobble out. First thing I want to do is knock that ledge or that burr that was left. Let's get a little measurement right quick. That should be about 1.6 inches. That's what the inside of that 2-inch measured. 1.620. So we got plenty that we can take off here to clean that up. That's dead on 1.6. I'm going to take, I think I'll go ahead and take another 40 thousandths off of that. It's 100 thousandths over now. But that 40 thousandths should give it a good cleanup. Okay, that's why I don't use these little cheap mandrels that much. It went to sliding up in the mandrel. Back off 20 thousandths off of that. Now we'll get that other 20 thousandths. Alright, that should be plenty fine right there. Now let's put a chamfer on it. Alright, I'm going to take that one out, put this one in, do the same thing to it, then I'll meet you guys over at the surface grinder, and we're going to put a a good finish on both sides of this. Okay, folks, I think that this little project turned out pretty good. There's nothing about this that couldn't have been done on the lathe with a turning tool, a facing tool, parting tool, and a 5/8 drill bit, and some round stock. But this was kind of fun. I enjoyed cutting that out. Again, this is just a piece of cold roll, which is, if you had to go buy it, it's a whole lot less expensive than round stock. I consider round stock a precious commodity. But I think it turned out pretty good. The AC tool, 1/2 inch, cut fine. And the largest of the Vevor annular cutters, the 2-inch, did excellent as well. Hope you got a little bit out of this. Take care, and I'll see you on the next video.